Hello, welcome to another YouTube live. Welcome. It's lovely to be here. Can't believe that it's been, I think this is the 6th or the 7th that I've done so far. Started the year with these YouTube lives, and here we are. So just checking in. How are you? How is your heart? How are you feeling? It's lovely to have people tuning in and connecting for these lives. And in today's session, I wanted to share an expansions message, a message from this notebook that I've been adding to over the weeks. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can listen to my podcast where I talk about the expansions messages. Also on my newsletter, those of you who have signed up to the monthly newsletter, I share messages from this as well. So this is a little practice that I have, and every week, well, more times. It just depends when I'm doing it. So sometimes it's a few times a week, sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's once a week. I tune in, simply just setting in that attention to tune into my heart, tune into soul, tuning into that all-loving part within that every single person has. We all have this. So that all-loving, all-knowing, wise aspect of ourselves, that part of ourselves that already knows the answers. Often that we're caught up in the mind, and the mind is full of lots of shoulds and doubts and have-tos. Often, not always the case, though often. And just taking a moment to really feel into what's here in the heart and what's important without any of that dialogue, or just noticing that dialogue, but then noticing that there's a deeper message, there's something else in there. So I just set that intention and I start writing, and I simply just write. Sometimes I ask questions about specific things, like what is self-tenderness, how can we generate more self-love, like anything that's related to my work or anything that's I'm going through personally as well. So I just ask questions and just notice what comes up. I just start writing, and with the intention of not getting caught up in the mind and analyzing it and trying to control it, and just noticing what comes through. So I'll share one message from that later on. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the self-tenderness challenge that we had last week. So that was last week. If you joined, then it was wonderful to have you there. Thank you for joining. And if you didn't and you're like, oh, I wish I signed up for that, or that's something I need, then there'll be more coming with self-tenderness, and also on creating change, the training that I have coming up March the 22nd. I'll be talking about this a lot. We go into it in much more depth. So last week was a little taster, and we had 3 classes. So I did 3 free classes, and yeah, it was lovely. It's lovely to go through a journey with people and go through a process. Though I understand nowadays it's very different compared to like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Like the whole self-awareness space is very different, and what people are looking for is different in terms of, I don't know, maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just how I'm perceiving things. There seems to be, with the rise of social media, there seems to be this desire to want everything quick and fast. And whenever there's a longer period of time, or there's a challenge over a few days, then it does become a challenge. It does become a challenge for some people to really show up each day. And that can be something that is difficult. I mean, in terms of lifestyle, I mean, understandably, if people have children or work or different things going on, though it's interesting to notice how social media does have an influence on how we're showing up in our day-to-day life, and it's important to pay attention to this. So I was just writing an article about this, which will probably come out at some point. And it's important to notice like how are we being impacted by technology? Technology is wonderful. I mean, look, I can do a YouTube live. If there was no technology, I wouldn't be able to do this, and people around the world wouldn't be able to tune in. Though, are we mindful about how we're using it? Are we using it, or are we allowing it to use us? This is an important thing to pay attention to. So, yeah, just being mindful about how we use that. And I noticed that maybe going forward, these 3-day challenges I might change the structure. The content and things will be more or less the same. I mean, obviously, like that develops as time goes on as well, as I grow and evolve and my work develops, though the main like bulk of the content will be there. Maybe the structure will change. Maybe it will become like a retreat, an online retreat, like a mini retreat, like a couple of hours intensive masterclass and just a one-off rather than a 3 days. So yeah, because everyone has there's a lot going on. So many people have jobs and kids and work and many things going on. Though the people that did show up, it was amazing. We had so much fun, and we were talking about all sorts of things. Like, this is the great thing, like when you gather in community, and whether that's online or it's in person, you gather in community, you can hear questions from other people, you can hear different perspectives, you can get to know people, connect with people. There's such a gift in that. Like, creating connection in whatever way that is one of the most vital things nowadays in life. It's one of the most vital things, like creating connection. So that's what I love about the group classes and creating changes, that the training that's coming up. It's a whole group process that we go through, and we go through 5 different modules, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful just to hear people, and the online course, like we have people from, I think the last one we had people from like all around Europe, different countries all around Europe, and even the States as well. Like, we had people from everywhere, and it was just so nice to all gather and connect in one space and dance together and create together and communicate together and connect together and grow and learn and evolve together, have fun together. It's really wonderful. So yeah, the tenderness challenge was lovely. And I wanted to share one thing that I was covering, one important thing in terms of how we can generate a little more self-care in our day-to-day life. So you might have heard the phrase self-love, self-care, self-acceptance. When people think of self-care, so when you think of the words, like the phrase self-care, like what do you, like generating self-care, what do you think of? What comes up? Because often when I say that, people think of massage, bubble bath, the usual, which can be a wonderful way of caring for ourselves, like booking a massage, drawing a bath, like enjoying a nice bath. That can be a wonderful act of self-care. Though there are many different ways of creating self-care, many different ways. And one of the ways that we were talking about in the challenge is seeing what we're already doing in our day-to-day life as an act of self-care. So often we're focused on, oh, I need to be more loving to myself. Oh, I need to generate more self-care. I need to do more things for myself, to look after myself. And we're completely oblivious of how we're already doing that already. Maybe in a different way that what we didn't think of before. So we were talking about it in the class, and we were saying, like, what if taking out the rubbish is an act of self-care? What if doing the washing is an act of self-care? What if cleaning your teeth is an act of self-care? Like, all these little things that we do daily, clean our teeth, have a shower, cook, clean, obviously depending on our lifestyle and situation. Some do it more than others, though seeing everyday activities as this act of self-care, this act of self-care. So when we shift the perspective, because this is the thing, it's all about shifting the perspective. It's like, opening everything up. And it's like, okay, yes. I'm already quite loving towards myself. I'm already like caring for myself. I just wasn't seeing it before. I wasn't acknowledging it before. I wasn't perceiving it that way before. And when we see it, then we can fully receive it. So next time you're going about like washing the dishes, taking out the rubbish, like just doing usual everyday activities, brushing your teeth, that's an act of self-care. So when we start realizing that, okay, yes, actually I am caring for myself much more than I thought, we don't need to hold on to all of the judgments of the inner critic that often can pop up. When I talk about this with clients, there's lots of shoulds and have tos and must dos, and I need to do this, I need to be like everyone else, like other people do it better than me. No. Just shift the perspective. Notice what is already present. Notice what you're already doing. And noticing that first changes everything. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. That's what we're talking about last week with the students. And and also like a couple of things, like I see these weekly lives as a way to tune in and give updates of what's happening, what's going on. There's lots of things I'm involved in at the moment, and it's a good way to just let people know, and as well as giving a few useful tips. So if you're in Barcelona or near Barcelona or want to come to Barcelona on the 18th of February, so I understand that if people are watching the replay, some of these dates might not be valid anymore. If they're not, then there's still plenty more stuff. Just check out my podcast, my website, there's plenty more things happening. Though at the time of recording this, at the time of this going live, there's a workshop that I'm doing, which is part of this full day of activities in Barcelona. So it's a community project and lots of different professionals are offering free workshops as a gift to the community. And I've been invited to start the whole day off with the first workshop. And so I'll be starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 18th of February, 2023. And the workshop is called Existence. And it's all about how can we connect to, or how can we find center and calm during times of chaos. So this is a really important topic. With all of the chaos that's happening in the world, all of the fear-based news stories, all of the war, and some people are more directly affected than others, with like stresses and worries, like personal struggles, whether that's with relationships or money or health or whatever individuals are going through. There's a lot happening on the planet at the moment. And it can feel quite overwhelming and chaotic sometimes. It can feel like there's so much going on. And it's how can we connect to that center, that calm that's always there within? How can we do that despite what's going on in the external? And this is not about spiritually bypassing. This is not about, only love and light. Just focus on what you like and ignore the rest. It's not about that. We're going to be talking about spiritual bypassing. We're going to be talking about how we can create balance between the two, because this is a thing. This planet is about polarities. We're here to remember the unity, yet the human experience, there's the polarities there. There are the two experiences. So if there's chaos, there'll be calm too. It's like a tornado or storm, like the center is very different to what's happening on the external. So I'll be talking about that on Saturday, and then there's another one in March as well. So you can check out the links in the description. There's plenty of things coming up in Barcelona. It's nice to do some things in person as well as online and connect with you in person. And that will also be creating change as well. The training which is coming up, there's also the option to do that in person as well as online. So plenty of things coming up, things to really help us explore who we are, awaken to the magic that is you, and to awaken to the magic of life and to really fall back in love with all of that. And I do all of this through creative means, through creative arts, through dance, and through group processes, exercises, and insight. So it's really about coming together in community, having fun. It's a lot of fun, and really learning about ourselves and learning some useful tools, tips and tools that we can take forward into our day-to-day life. So on that note, I'm going to end it there with the expansions message that I said that I would share. So this message is talking about how we can create change in life. And of course, there are many, many different ways to go about it and many different perspectives and thoughts, and people will describe it in different ways. This is just what came up in the writing, and it's just a really simple back to the basics. Though this is the thing, often the mind wants lots of new technique, new, like wanting different things. And it's back to the basics, back to the simplicity. Like when we reconnect to the simplicity, that's when things shift. When we sit in nature, when we come back to the breath, when we take a big inhale and exhale, when we remember the life within, that heartbeat, all of those little things can create profound shifts when we truly connect with that. Often we don't need the latest fancy technique or methodology. Just coming back to the basics. That's what creating change is about. Really coming back to the basics through creativity. Like we paint, we draw, we dance, and remember who we truly are. So I'll read out the message as I have it here written in this notebook. There are no shoulds in the realm of infinite possibilities. Choose in alignment of your heart, your internal compass, and possibilities open up and things naturally become easier to bring into reality. To live life according to the shoulds from the mind. So I was just pausing there because I was just like noticing like how important it is to really like pay attention to the shoulds. Like so often we're caught up in this mindset of like, oh yeah, I should do this, and sometimes we're so caught up in it that we don't even realize that we're doing it. So it's really important that we pay attention. So when we live life according to the shoulds of the mind, we limit. So the message is to live life according to the shoulds from the mind is to limit yourself and to limit the abundance that awaits, to not connect to yourself to the abundance that awaits. Choose from the grounded, centered heart, and everything else will fall through. So I'll just read the first sentence again. There are no shoulds in the realm of infinite possibilities. So when we're truly connecting to abundance, when we're truly connecting to infinite possibilities, there's no should. you should do this, you should do that. Because when we're caught up in that mindset, that's from the mind, and it's limiting in some ways. Like it's almost like one tunnel that way. Though when we open up to the possibility and we're connected to I could, I can, what is currently present, what's available, and we really truly listen to what our heart and soul wants, now that's when everything shifts. Too many people are living life according to the mind. The mind is useful, though too many people are living life according to societal pressures, pressures from family members, pressures from themselves, according to like the beliefs that they've just like been brought up with, or things that they've decided when they were young that they had to earn money in a certain way, or do a particular type of job or career, or like in order to feel loved, safe, secure, and have a sense of belonging in society. There are many different levels to this, though often there's so much of, or so many people are living their life according to the mind and according to the shoulds, rather than really listening like deep within. And some of you might be listening to this and thinking, well, yeah, that's all very well. Like, what about the bills to pay? What about like work? What about the responsibilities? What about all this 3D material side of life, physical life that we need to focus on as well? That's important for part of our survival here. Yeah, that's important. And it's not about going from like one extreme to the other. And some people do, and great. If it works out, that's wonderful. And sometimes when you take that leap of faith and you're courageous with that, then wonderful things can happen. Though often, like just taking little steps, like that consistency, that's really wonderful, because then we can really tune in. So like a first step, for example, because like some people might be like, hey, but I don't even know what my heart wants. I don't know what my soul wants to do. I don't know. I don't know. Like sometimes there can be a lot of confusion there. So just start off with a notebook. Start off how I've done it. This is one option. It's not the only option, but one option is simply just to start writing. My heart says ... Fill in the blank. Notice what comes up. I truly, truly desire to experience in this life ... What do you really want? Like, how do you want to live? These are important questions. Important questions to really pay attention to. And it's just about little steps, and really like adjusting and realigning and coming back to our core, coming back to our center, and living life according to the heart rather than the shoulds. So it doesn't mean that you need to give up the day job. Though for some people they might want a big shift, big change. Though it's just noticing, okay, what doesn't work, what doesn't feel good, what can I do about it? And how can I do something every single day to really help myself move in the direction I want to go in? And at the same time, because it's not only just about like, oh, I'm here and I want to get there. At the same time, there's a huge part of it. It's actually waking up to what's already present. It's like, okay, I'm looking for this. How can I bring that into my life? So, for example, like a really simple example, I like change, hence why I got a training called Creating Change. So like change, like mixing things up a bit, like not being the same every single day, doing the same thing every single day. I like variety. So sometimes I just take my laptop and sit in a different place, or sometimes I get up and move about, or sometimes I will do something different just to mix things up a bit. Doesn't mean that I'm not working, or doesn't mean that I'm not doing what I need to do, whatever it is that I need to do at the time. So I just mix things up a bit. And that's like a little step forward, a little step forward. So I'd love to hear in the comments, like, what is your heart saying? Like, what do you really, really want in life, and where do you have that already? And if there's something in particular that you really want to experience and you're not experiencing that in the moment, like, what little steps can you take? What steps can you take forward in experiencing that? There are no shoulds in the realm of infinite possibilities. So in order to step into the realm of infinite possibilities, we let go of the shoulds, we step into the heart, and we listen. I'll leave that there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you, whether that's online or in person, an in-person workshop, or online, creating change, or whether that's like listening to like another video or tuning in live. It's lovely to connect with you. So I look forward to connecting with you, and yeah, it'd be great to dance one day, creating change. So I wish you a wonderful week. I'll be back here next Monday at 7 Barcelona time, 6 UK time, and I think it's about 10 Pacific time in the States. So wishing you a wonderful week, and go and notice like all those wonderful ways that you're already caring for yourself. See you next week.